我们敬礼传承祖师。
Let's pay homage to the lineage gurus.
敬礼了明和尚。
Homage to the Venerable monk Liao Ming.
敬礼萨迦正空上师。
Homage to Master Sakya 真空。
16世大宝法王卡玛巴。
Homage to His Holiness the 16th Karmapa.
图登大吉上师。
And homage to Master Dubden Darji.
我们敬礼坛城三宝。
Homage to the three jewels of the altar.
今天的父母祖尊。
Homage to the main deity of Homa today.
玛哈布拉蒂萨罗索哈。 大水球菩萨。
Om Maha Bodhi Salo Soha. The Maha Pratisara Bodhisattva. Sumo. Tanzan Gatso. All Dhamma masters, Dhamma educators, Dhamma teachers, Dhamma instructors, Dhamma assistants, directors of temples and chapters, and all disciples present here and over the internet. And our participating VIPs today are Ambassador Dong Zhou Liao, the Taipei rep to Norway and Sweden, wife Dharma Sister Judy, accountant to Buddha Foundation Dharma Sister Teresa, a CEO to TP Boye website, the attorney Jennifer Zhou, advisor to Overseas Chinese of the Republic of China, Miss Winnie Xie,
利剑股份有限公司董事长段生全师兄。
the president to the Greenland Natural Company, Dhamma Brother Tuan. From California, Dhamma Brother Gao Minglu and his wife. Dr. Su Lin. And the owner of Shanghai House Restaurant, Dharma Sister Liu Yihong.
长龙航空空姐杨
And
佩云师姐
stewardess manager of EVA Airlines, Miss Yang Penny.
上海新天地
And the owner of the Shanghai restaurant, Dharma Sister Tang Yan.
大家午安，大家好。 你好，大家好。
How do you do, everybody?
下个礼拜天
For next Sunday,
12月15日
on December 15th,
下午
Sunday at 3 p.m.
在彩虹雷藏寺是
at the Rainbow Temple,
地藏王菩萨
we will have Siddhikarma Bodhisattva Homa fire offering ceremony.
是地藏王菩萨。那么地藏王菩萨
Siddhikarma Bodhisattva
大菩萨之一
is one of the 8 great bodhisattvas.
观世音菩萨
Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva, Manjusri Bodhisattva, Samanthabhadra Bodhisattva,
地藏王菩萨
Siddhikarma Bodhisattva, Maitreya Bodhisattva,
虚空场菩萨
Akasagarbha Bodhisattva,
除盖章菩萨是8大菩萨。地藏王菩萨
Viskambi Bodhisattva, and Siddhikarma Bodhisattva.
菩萨之一。
That's the 8 great bodhisattvas.
那么
So, Siddhikarma Bodhisattva is one of the 8 great bodhisattvas.
那么今天这个拿在手上的这个通知大家的。
So this is the announcement
他没有带这个
that I have here.
有的地藏王菩萨有带五佛冠，有的地藏王菩萨
This is the one without wearing the 5 Buddha crown.
手上是
But
拿
there
着
also
明珠跟他的这个
Siddhikapa Bodhisattva wearing the 5 Buddha crown.
那我记得有一次啊，
I remember one time
参访地藏王菩萨，
I visited Siddhikapa
地藏王
Bodhisattva,
菩萨刚好不在，
and Siddhikapa was not
不在
there.
呢，他这个五佛冠呢，
So
放在这个他的
his
翠微
5
净
Buddha
土。
crowns was placed at
我
his
们有2个鬼
Pure Land.
把这个五佛冠偷了跑，把地藏
The
王菩萨
precious.
五佛冠
So there were 2 ghosts that stole
这就是
Siddhikapa Bodhisattva's 5 Buddha
十恶
crown.
魔，一个就是地狱这个
One of
饮
them
血魔，
was the demon who drank blood, and the other one was the
地
ghost
十恶
who
魔跟地狱
eats
饮血魔。
flesh.
那我看到这2个大鬼，
So I saw these 2 huge ghosts who stole Siddhikapa Bodhisattva's crown.
2个人在争执，因为只有一顶帽子。
And the 2 ghosts were fighting for that crown because there was only 1 crown. And they couldn't cut the crown in half. So Siddhikapa Bodhisattva's 5 Buddha crown has what function? So all of our masters here have 5 Buddha crown on their heads. But Siddhikapa Bodhisattva's 5 Buddha crown is different from the Buddha crowns that you're wearing. So it's brightly radiant with thousands of rays of auspicious light made of pure gold, extremely expensive. So after the ghosts got the crown, they fought about it. And as you know, whoever wears this Siddhikara's crown, you can go to all places in the 10 Dharma realms. It has such power. And then inside the crown, it can give you whatever you wish for, just like Mahapratisara. So that's real treasures. Any treasures and precious items can come out from that crown endlessly. You get whatever you want. So that's a perfectly wish-fulfilling crown. And the 2 ghosts were fighting for it. And as I was passing by them, I told those 2 huge ghosts, please don't fight about it. Let me be the fair judge. Why don't you just give the crown to me? And then I would test you. And I will give the crown to whoever that wins. And they were happy about it. So they give the crown to Grandmaster. And then these two ghosts waited for me to give the test. But as soon as I wear the crown, I went to find Ksitigarbha Bodhisattva. So ever since I offended these two ghosts, and one of the ghosts, which was the blood-drinking demon, is XX, the ghost which living today. So one of the ghosts was the blood-drinking demon, who is XX, the ghost witch now. And I don't know about the other ghost, the flesh-eating demon. Up till now, I still don't know who that is in this life. So that's how I offended the blood-drinking demon of hell. Because I was talking about this Ksitigarbha Bodhisattva who's not wearing the five Buddha crown. That his five Buddha crown is not being stolen, right? That was a matter of the past. So Ksitigarbha Bodhisattva simply as the king or the savior of the netherworld. He is in charge of the three lower realms, and most importantly, the hell realm. He is in charge of the hell realm, and his Pure Land is the marvelously called Cui Wei Buddha Land. Could you check it on the internet? Only spoken by Grandmaster, nobody else. If you have ancestors who's still in the netherworld, in the realms of hell, hungry ghosts, or animals, or in the heavenly realms even, you have to register as the primary supplicants. If all of your ancestors all have transcended the realm to the Pure Lands or have become bodhisattvas and Buddhas, then you don't need to bardo deliverance. You don't need to bardo deliver them, and you don't need to become primary supplicants. Otherwise, you should become primary supplicants to bardo deliver your ancestors. And today, we perform the Mahapratisara Bodhisattva Homa, and they are the Pratisara 8 mudras. So in order to practice Mahapratisara Dharma practice, you need to master his mudras, and this is the first mudra. And this is the second mudra. This is the third mudra. This is the fourth mudra. This is the fifth mudra. This is the sixth mudra. the 7th mudra and the 8th mudra. And the most important mudra is very easy to remember. The scripture mudra. That sounds like tomato mudra. In Japanese, kamabi. Tomato. In southern Taiwan, we call it kamabi. And the northern Taiwanese, what do they call it? How do you say tomato? Tomato, but that's a foreign word from Japanese. Tomato is Japanese as well as English, right? And it's a foreign word in Japanese too. In mainland China, they call it 西红柿. But here we just call it the tomato mudra, scripture mudra. This mudra is most important. Fan meaning Sanskrit scripture book mudra. This is the most important mudra. I have talked about Mahapratisara in the past. And her secret name is the wish-granting Vajra. So we can say, for spiritual cultivators, we should not have any wishes, nothing to ask for. However, Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva is compassionate towards sentient beings because sentient beings always have something to ask for. So that's why we say it's if you hit the bell with power, with strength, then the sound would be loud. So, and then if you strike with little power, then the sound would be small. And if you don't strike the bell, then there's no sound. So what this means by the Bodhisattva is that if you use a huge power to pray to Mahapratisara, then she would give you a huge responses. And if you use small power or small effort to pray to her, then she would bestow a little bit in corresponds to the prayer that you offer. But if you don't ask for anything, then you're not given anything. So like this Vajra bell, if you use great strength, then it sounds loud. And if you use little power, then the sound is smaller. And if you don't exert any strength at all, then there's nothing, no sound. It's very simple. The concept is very simple. Some babies, when they were born, their eyes were closed. they don't open their eyes. And it doesn't matter what you do, they just still don't open their eyes. So you use 2 coins and then you clang them near their ears, and then they open their eyes when they hear the sound of money. Many monks and nuns understand that sometimes a red envelope is given to a monk or nun, and then they just touch it, and it's only a piece of paper. Okay, I will do this for you. But if you give us a thick stack, then as soon as they touch it, they will say, okay, I'll do it immediately for you. I'll agree it. Otherwise, they would say, well, okay, let me see. But if it's a stack of it, they say, okay, right away, and they ran to take care of the issue. That's the difference. Nowadays, in making the offering, there are many masters in requests for Grandmaster to give Dharma teaching. They would just bring hatha. That's it, nothing else. So that's what I say. It makes no difference whether they have it or not. Even if they have a red envelope, it's very thin. I can be more clean if I just say there's no need for red envelopes, no need for offerings, just hatha offering. Then it would be clean and clear. Because even you know, I just accept the hatha and then give you a blessing on your head, and that's it. Just casually. Because you're just offering hatha, right? But if you take your own money and a stack of them as offering to Grandmaster, then Grandmaster would chant a few more mantras for you. That's the mindset of sentient beings. The same with Maha Pratisara. And why is Maha meaning great? Because if you wish for something great, then she would give you something great. So if you strike with lots of efforts, then you would get loud sound. But if you strike with the mediocre strength, then it's also mediocre response, and accordingly. But you don't give me a stack of red envelope, but they're all $1 bills. You know, for spiritual consultation, someone gave me a huge stack. And then I replied, I give them a lot of advice and consultations, and I felt good. And then when I open and check it, oh no, they're all $1 bills. And then I give it to Master Lianji and said, this is for you. Yeah, Lianji knew that there's some people who likes to give $1 bills. It looks a huge stack. So afterwards, every time I see him, I know it's all $1 bills. Then there would not be up and down in your mind or your heart. Those are jokes. Those are kidding. But sentient beings are like that. But for Bodhisattva, there is no difference. To the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, there is no difference. So talking about Mahapratisara Bodhisattva, you need to use the greatest reference and sincerity to offer to her. Then that's good enough. So what is the greatest mind or heart offering is by chanting his mantra, do his practice, and use your most reverent heart and mind to recite his mantra and do his Dharma practice. That would be the greatest mind offering. So Buddhas and Bodhisattvas don't have the same mindset as sentient beings. They don't differentiate between huge offerings, medium offering, or small offerings, pure or clean offerings versus impure or dirty offerings. They all view them as the same. Many Buddhas and Bodhisattvas don't have any differentiation because they have reached the realm of complete equality. So as long as you use the purest mind or heart to make the offering, that's good enough. There is no so-called pure or impure offering, big or small offering. They are all equal. That's about Mahapratisara Bodhisattva. In the past, I have also talked about the Dhamma practice of Mahapratisara. And he has a sutra. It's the Mahapratisara Dharani Sutra of wish fulfilling. The sutra is very long. Mahapratisara Dharani Sutra of universal illumination, supreme, wish-fulfilling mudra, unconquerable Vidyaraja. Very long title of his sutra. How do you print it? Such a long name to the sutra. Mahapratisara Dharani Sutra of universal illumination, supreme, wish-fulfilling mudra, unconquerable Vidyaraja. The title of the sutra would have to be printed from front to back. Now let me continue to expound on Lamdre. By using the power of opening the first channel knot to guide, or by the key formula of the fourth empowerment to guide to the 10th ground, opening 30 channel knots. Due to the merits of each of the grounds, starting from the pre-practice, with each opening of the knot, it increases the common merits of that ground up to the main practice, which is convenient to open the knots. Also, as the common merit increases with each ground until it cannot increase anymore, eventually, when it is complete and at the time of merging, it will open the channel knots. As one climbs up the ground, cut off at each third channel knot, the chi and bodhicitta become solid and will not retreat. This way, one opens 32 channel knots and rises to the realization of the 12th ground. Therefore, it is referred as the enlightenment or out-of-worldly path to cut off the inner channel knots. The classification is as follows. The overall channel knots that occur due to the narrow, blocked, coiled semen and blood channels at the central channel, where the mind chi accumulates, can possibly create pain associated with the stagnation and unsmooth sensation of upholding the channel. In order to open and smooth this channel, one utilizes the cutting off the outer channel knots. Guru Manjushri said, this explanation of the path of the 6 instructions is a brief summary of the verse. Let me explain this. After talking so much about it, is to make your channels to be completely open and let things flow smoothly. There are 32 knots on the channels. So in those areas, it's very narrow or block. The reason why our body is ailing is because the channels are being blocked or very narrow. So we practice treasure vase energy yoga is to open the central channel, to make the chi or the breath to enter into it. So the channels is very open and flowing smoothly. In Tantrayana we say that the so-called chi or the vital energy or the breath is like the cars or the vehicles, and all the channels are like the roadways. So the roadways where the vehicles run. And the items, the products that the vehicles are transporting are the inner fire and light drops. Now, with this analogy, it's very clear. So the items or the goods that's being transported are the inner fire and light drops. And the chi or the vital energy is the vehicles or the cars. And the channels are the roadways. And if the roadways is blocked or jammed, then the traffic, the car, would be blocked. And we have pain and inflammation and ailment in your body because of the blockage. So therefore, you need to use to transport the chi to open it and to repair it the best you can. And one of the methods is by doing the Vajra fist exercise or the Vajra Kung Fu exercise. Why do you want to do this exercise? Is to open your channels so that it's always flowing smoothly. By doing this Vajra Kung Fu exercise, you use an external power to open the knots on your channels so that the roadways are open and flowing smoothly. Grandmaster, in the past life, one of the important disciples, one of them is Kedrupje and Jajaoje, and the third one is Kundunju. And also Sakyayese. And that we can say that he is now Kandan Tripa. And one of them is Panchan Lama, is also known as Kedrup. And Gyalsapche, Kedrupche, they all che. And Gyalchapche is Kandan Tripa, Kedrupche is Panchan Lama, and Kundundru is Dalai Lama. And Sakyayese is Zebu Jundanpa, is the great living Buddha in Mongolia. Tsongkhapa, those were Tsongkhapa's disciples. And Tsongkhapa sent Sakyayese to see the Emperor Yongle, and he was given the title Sakyayese, and he's been reincarnated right here, listening to this Dharma teaching. Sakyayese knows how to do the Vajra Kung Fu exercise, the whole set of it. Please stand up. Please come to the center. If you want to learn about the Vajra Kung Fu exercise to open your channels inside your body, you can learn it from him. You can show the exercises, but please don't show it on the internet. It's okay if you want to do it standing up. What happens? I'm nervous. You can be nervous too? Grandmaster is not nervous. Why are you so nervous? Nobody's taking you. You can just do a small piece of it. Just a section of it. Okay, you can return to your seat. How long will it take if you do the whole set? 2 hours.
2个小时。好，那你请坐。
Please be seated.
那个永乐皇帝呀。
So the Emperor Yongle gave you the title of what? The Dharma King, the great upholding Dharma King. And he has the seal of the Emperor Yongle that Emperor Yongle gave to him. And he had mastered the Vajra Kung Fu exercise completely. For the man, if you want to study the Vajra Varahi exercise, has been mastered by 3 people. One is Dharma Sister Judy. She's able to do the Vajra Yogini exercise. The other one is Dharma Sister Swang Lian from Singapore, and Lian Dian, Master Lian Dian. She's also able to perform the Vajra Yogini exercise. So for the woman, if you want to learn the Vajra Yogini exercise, you can find these 3 people. It's for the man, you can go learn from a reincarnation of Sakyayeshe.
这个金刚拳是配合你身体的脉打出来的，意思就是把那个脉结。
This Vajra Kung Fu exercise is to open the channel knots primarily. By performing this is to open all the channels and to open the channel knots inside your body. There are a total of 32 knots. If once you open 3 channel knots, then you climb up 1 ground of the Bodhisattvahood. So from the initial ground, the joyous ground, to the 10th ground, the Huayan ground, and the 7th ground, and the 8th ground is Avalokitesvara ground because of the Mahakaruna Dharani. There becomes the 1,000 eyes, 1,000 arm Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva. That's the 8th ground. And the 11th ground, and 11th and 12, 13 ground, they are Buddhahoods. So 13 grounds Vairocana Buddha. So the 10 grounds of Bodhisattvahood and 6 grounds of Buddhahood. So every time you open 3 knots, you would climb up 1 ground. So you open the channel knots. So how many channel knots have you opened? Then you would reach that ground. It's very simple. That's the explanation. So by opening 3 knots, then you climb up 1 ground. There are a total of 32 channel knots. So 30 knots would be the same as 10 grounds of Bodhisattvahood. And after opening 32 knots, you have attained Buddhahood. So this is cutting off the path of nirvana, the channels of nirvana. So now it's very clear after the explanation, otherwise you would not understand by reading it. So by using the power of opening the first channel knot or by the key format of the 4th empowerment to guide to the 10th ground, you don't understand why is 4th empowerment and you got to the 10th ground by opening the 30 channel knots. So this is very important. So practicing treasure-based energy yoga, Grandmaster practices every night. And why I sleep late? Because first I have to help Simu doing protection for her and her whole bedroom, including windows, doors to the bathroom, to the closet. They all have to be sealed for the protection. I have to go around to do the protection, and after that, I would cover Simu with blanket, and then I would leave her room. Did I always cover you with the blanket? Yes, every day, every night. Then I turn off the lights, and all the lights turn off, and then I would walk back to my own bedroom. And at the first thing that I see is Golden Mother, and I would stand in front of Golden Mother and to be merging with the Golden Mother, and it's very fast for me. As soon as I quiet down and focus on one thing, being single-minded, immediately Golden Mother would enter into my body. Then I use my method to ignite my inner fire all the way to my feet, and from the feet rising to the top of my head, including my whole body, with one syllable, lung. What is lung? That's fire. And the fire will rise to burn away my whole body, to become ash. And with yang, which is wind, with the breeze of wind, the ash will be scattered. And with kang, then I would enter into emptiness. So after merging with Golden Mother, I would use my inner fire to burn myself, to become ash and be blown away by the wind. Then I would enter into emptiness, and I would do meditation right there. And after meditation, when I exit from that meditation, I would set up the protection around my bedroom. And after that, I would brush my teeth, wash my face, and then get on bed and sleep. That's why I sleep later than Simu, because I still have to do some homework, and even on the bed, I still have to do my homework. Before sleep, I would do my homework. But sometimes I feel very sleepy, and I would fall asleep when I'm halfway of my homework. Sometimes that happens. So that's why my sleep time is rather long. So I use my inner fire to open my channels. I use my inner fire to burn away everything from my body, of my body. That's what I do. This is, I am letting you know, that's my homework every night. I don't only do protection, do my homework of merging with the Yidam, and then together with the Yidam to use the inner fire to burn away all of my body. So this is my real homework. You don't have to copy me. And sometimes you're not able to, even if you want to. You cannot be in union with your Yidam. That's the question. Can you be single-minded that in a split of a second you can be in union with your Yidam? Are you able to do that? This is from your spiritual cultivation all along. That's why you want to quiet down, settle down, and be single-minded to be in union with the Yidam. And there are spiritual experiences about this. Like if you quiet down and pray to the Yidam to be in union with you. So in this way, I was already merging and in union with the Yidam. And you need to know which Yidam, which deity is merging with you. Is that Golden Mother from the main hall of the Rainbow Temple. So the main hall the Golden Mother at the center of the main hall of the Rainbow Temple. So you need to know which deity who is in union with you. Just now was the Golden Mother at the center of the main hall of the Rainbow Temple. Because I saw her. How did you know? Because I saw her. All the sculpting of Golden Mothers are extremely dignified and beautiful, especially the one at my home. She is most beautiful. In comparison, the Golden Mother at the center of the Rainbow Temple, it's like Master Lien Yin. I will not say. Why don't you take her picture and compare it with your face? Are they similar? That Golden Mother is similar to Lien Yin, skinny and dry. Just now I saw her, so that's why I knew which deity came. If your channels are open, that whichever deity you want to see, if you want to see lights, it's easier. I have said this. We have said this. Radiant channels of the wind. So if your channels are open, then you would be able to see lights, and your body too can emit clear light. The teacher asked Xiaoming, "Did you do this homework yourself?" And Xiaoming replied, "No, it's my dad helping me." And the teacher said, "Go home and tell your dad he should come on Sunday for tutoring, because what his dad did perhaps was wrong too." As a Buddhist practitioner, we should know ourselves. You're very clear about yourself. The weaknesses of your spiritual cultivations, you should know, and then you should mend it. You should practice more. You know for yourself, is that you don't chant enough mantra, that you're no good at entering samadhi, or your practice procedure is not correct and complete, or because you're very haphazard in your practice. These are all faults and shortcomings. So with any incomplete or improper faults and shortcomings in your practice, you can mend it by chanting Vajrasattva 100-syllable mantras. There is a cool and handsome young man wave his hand with the handkerchief, and I returned his wave, and he went to the second window and waved again, and I waved back, and then he went to the third window and waved again, and then I discovered that this handsome, cool boy was cleaning the windows. It's like waving with the handkerchief. And she returned the waves, but it turned out that he was just cleaning the windows. Sometimes we mistake other people's intentions. When I was driving the car, there was a beautiful girl on the pedestrian path waving her hand, and I thought, oh, maybe she's been in consultation with me. So I returned the wave. And when I passed her by, it turned out there was another girl hugging each other. I was driving, and he was standing there at the pedestrian path, and the car was next to it. And because she's beautiful, so I waved back. And then there was another girl came over, and they hugged each other. So she was waving to the other girl. So sometimes we mistook things and we would feel kind of embarrassed. So in studying the sutras, we cannot misunderstand it. Good thing I have the terma, the hidden treasures inside my brain. Therefore, I can explain it, then you can understand it clearly. There's a beautiful young wife asking the doctor, at night my husband snores very loudly. Is there anything we can do? And the doctor replied, just sleep at my home. That's also one of the ways, but should not be, it's not acceptable. A young man asked the master, yesterday I was holding an old lady and I was cheated to 20,000. And then I encountered a fake accident and I had to give 50,000. And asked the master, so what has happened to the world? The master didn't say anything. Just give him a cup and to have him hold it in his hand. And then he's pouring a really hot water onto the cup until it spilled over and harmed the young man's hands. And then he said, oh, is it because I have to experience pain before I put it down? The young man asked, because the cup fell to the ground and broke. And the master shook his head and said, hey, this cup is an antique from the Qianlong era. So now, just give me $1 million. So let me tell you, there are many people without real capabilities in this world. So people without real capabilities can only become charlatans or cheats. The same thing with our Buddhist practice. You should open wide your eyes and to see who is cheating. Then don't rely on them. But if someone has real capability with the real signs, like what I said last night, with the blessing on the heads, the tumor on the neck disappeared. With the blessing, they felt it over there right away. I have talked about it last night. This is called the real signs. So only someone with real capabilities, and even if someone can speak about the Buddha Dharma, explaining the sutras, you have to understand, if you have to see if it is really clear and comprehensible. Like talking about filial piety, everybody has heard it and everybody knows. But can you really do it? That's the question. Otherwise, they're all just cheats. There are too many cheats in this world. Here, let me tell you two ways. One is how to make your wife happy. The other one is how to make your husband happy. The way to make your wife happy is at the right time, you hug her. When you say goodbye, you kiss her and take care of the children and play with the kids for her and clean up the house at your own initiative and accompany her to go to her home, her parents' home, accompany her shopping, traveling, and then with no social obligations, accompany her, and at any time always report where you are, and never forget your wedding anniversaries, and give her massage after she's busy, and always be a good listener to her. These are the ways to make your wife happy. And to make the husband happy, there's only one way. Just let him be. Don't control him. It makes sense. Om Mani Padme Hum.